What's going on, Muscle Monsters? Align Gonzalez here, and welcome to my nutrition masterclass. And you are watching video number 1 of 3. And for the next few days, I'm going to release one of these videos. And by the time you're done with the 3 video part series, your nutrition is going to be in order, and you are going to be able to build muscle practically on demand, regardless of what training program you're on. All right? Now, here are a few things that you need to understand. You need to understand that if you're not gaining weight, it's not your training program. It's actually your diet. All right? Anyone, despite genetics, bone structure, despite your body type, can gain weight and build muscle. All right, so don't ever believe that because you're an ectomorph or a hard gainer that it's harder for you to put on size, or that you just can't put on size at all. And you need to understand that if you're not gaining weight, then you're just not in a positive energy balance. All right, it's no more complicated than that. Now, if you are gaining weight, but it's not actually muscle mass, then chances are your macronutrient distribution has to be adjusted. Okay? And another thing that you need to understand is that even the most basic of training programs will yield muscle gains if your nutrition is in order. And this is why if you go to your gym, you see these big buff guys who are on those basic bodybuilding splits that aren't quote-unquote optimal, but they're still making progress. All right? Now, before we get started, I just want to let you know that I do have a free gift for you. It's the Monster Muscle Macronutrient Calculator, and you're going to be able to download this for free, but don't do that yet. Now, the reason I'm giving you this is because I'm going to give you a lot of formulas, numbers, for your macronutrient intake and your nutrition along the way of this video, and this calculator is going to do that all for you. So what I want you to do is focus more on the information rather than trying to do all the calculations in math. All right? So today we're going to talk about 5 nutrition principles that you must have in order if you want to build muscle without fat. And if you have these 5 principles in order, you will build muscle every week despite being on the most basic training program. All right, so let's jump right in. Nutrition principle number 1, adequate protein. So how much protein do we actually need? All right, and although there's a lot of debate, the science has shown and proven that the amount of protein we need is actually a lot less than we've been led to believe in the past. And if you're consuming anywhere from 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight in protein, then you have more than enough protein available to build the maximum amount of muscle. Right? So increasing your protein any higher than this is not necessarily going to have negative effects, but it's not going to do anything more for your muscle gains. All right? So just to give you some examples of where your protein should come from, and not all of it, just the majority of it should come from high quality protein sources like chicken, turkey, egg whites, bison, white fish, lean beef, cottage cheese, and milk. All right, so if you're kind of confused as to where you should get your protein from, these are some great sources. And whey protein is a derivative of milk, so that is actually going to be in that category as well. Nutrition principle number 2 is adequate fat intake. So as long as we have enough of the essential fatty acids available, then we are going to recover maximally, and we are going to be able to produce enough of the anabolic hormones that we need to build muscle optimally as well. All right, so how much fats do we actually need? We actually only need about 1/4 gram per pound of body weight. All right, and these fats should come from, or at least the majority, from fats with essential fatty acids like fish oils, almond butter, walnuts, flaxseed oil, egg yolks, avocados, salmon, and pumpkin seeds. Now, there are other acceptable fats that you can use in order to help reach that number of fats per day, and those are things like peanut butter, peanuts, olive oil, dairy, and butter. Okay? Nutrition principle number 3. Keep the fuel tank full with carbs. All right? So how much carbs do we actually need? Here's the tricky one, all right? Because science has already shown us exactly how much protein we need to build muscle. And it's also shown us exactly how much fats we need in order to recover, right? Now, with carbs, this is where carbohydrate carryover comes into play. The carb sources, or the amount of carbs you'll be consuming per day, is simply going to help restore your glycogen. It's going to help fuel your workouts. And essentially, it's going to help keep you in that positive energy balance so that you are building muscle. All right? So the main carb sources should be things that are high fiber. So brown rice, multigrain pasta, sweet potato, wheat bread, oatmeal, yams, and vegetables. All right, but there are also, again, some acceptable carbs, such as white rice, pasta, potatoes, bread, and fruits, which are essential, but we'll talk about that a little more later. All right, now nutrition principle number 4 is proper fiber intake. Okay, now we need about 10 to 15 grams of fiber per every 1,000 calories that we consume. All right, so once you use the calculator, it will tell you how much fiber you need according to your calorie intake. So don't worry about doing the math, all right? But I will give you some foods that you can consume that are mainly fats and protein sources that are high in fiber. All right, so things like whole wheat bread, whole wheat pasta, brown rice, greens, nuts, seeds, fruits, beans, peas, and whole grain cereals are all great sources of fiber. And last but not least, we have nutrition principle number 5, which is micronutrients. All right, so how much do we need of vitamins and minerals? Now, because there's no exact number, I'm going to give you a basic rule of thumb. And you can go according to the total calories that the calculator gives you. So if you're in between 2,000 and 3,000 calories per day, then you'll need about 3 servings of vegetables and 3 servings of fruit per day to make sure you're getting enough vitamins and minerals throughout the day for your body weight. All right? Now, really quickly, let's go over a quick recap of the 5 nutritional principles. All right? Remember, adequate protein. We only need about 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. All right? We need adequate fat intake, which is only about 1/4 of a gram per pound of body weight. Carbohydrate carryover. Remember, we need enough to fuel our workouts, to keep the glycogen stores full, and to help us achieve a positive energy balance. Proper fiber intake, so 10 to 15 grams of fiber per every 1,000 calories we consume. And then our micronutrients, so sufficient vitamins and minerals to keep the body efficient. All right, now let's talk about really quickly tracking your intake. Once you plug in your numbers to this calculator I'm giving you, you're going to have certain goals that you need to meet in terms of, your fats, your carbs, protein, fiber, etc. So what I would recommend is doing what I do, and that is using an app like MyFitnessPal, which is completely free. And basically what it does is whenever you put in the foods that you eat into the app, it automatically calculates it for you. So as if you can see here, and I'll move the mouse here, whatever this person has eaten so far in the day has got them to about 36 grams of fat. So if your goal is 50 grams of fat, then you know how much fat you have left for the day. It also tells you where you're at with your carbs and your fiber to ensure you're hitting those numbers, as well as your protein. And again, this is called MyFitnessPal. There's other apps just like it that work just as well, but that's the one that I use. All right. So for the next nutrition masterclass, we're going to talk about how many meals per day for optimal muscle gains, what the best pre-workout foods for increased performance are, the best post-workout meals for restoration and recovery. We're going to find out how to ensure that you're always in a positive energy balance so that you can keep building size without having to worry about the plateau of your weight gain or muscle gain. And we are going to talk about the best times to consume your carbs. And trust me, my findings will shock you. All right, a lot of the stuff I'm going to share with you in that video goes against everything you've ever heard, but with good reason. All right, so stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.